Shut up.
New for 96. With your hosts, Kevin McCauley and Chris Nguyen.
The E39 LCI is a good LCI.
Yeah, it is. It's the best LCI.
It's the best LCI?
Yeah.
Is that in the proper BMW only sense? Or any facelift ever?
No, yeah. That LCI only exists in BMW land. Well, in Mini.
I use LCI to...
I know you do.
I specifically use it for other things.
It's very confusing to 99.99% of...
997 LCI.
Yeah. Many replies to tweets have been LCI question mark.
My love of Porsche nerdery outweighs my disdain of BMW. So I do use the .1 and 2 vernacular with Porsches.
We cooked with onions a little bit ago and there's still onion in the air, so my eyes are watery as hell.
Oh my god.
Ours are about to be from your takes, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah,
indeed.
eye-watering takes.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Yeah. I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball on 30,000 projects, but
Yeah.
I need
How it
to
goes. Oh my
need to
goodness.
actually make progress on shit. I wrenched on the Boxster for 2 hours today, so that felt good.
Ooh.
Cool. I saw pics. You took off wiper blades.
I took off the wiper motor and all the armature and everything. Yeah. I started taking out the air conditioning system.
Okay.
I had that purged at a shop a couple weeks ago.
Ah,
So.
okay. Yeah, I saw that it was the car was serving as a good shelf for assorted things during your garage project.
It has 2 trunks. It's a great storage. It's a good credenza.
An excellent garage credenza.
Yeah. Boxster credenza S or Porsche credenza S.
I promise I'm not going to die. I feel like I'm going to die, but I'm not going to die.
No, Brad is crying right now.
I'm weeping.
Yeah, we really hammered him with some hard-hitting questions before.
Yeah. I mean, this
Brought
is a
him to
normal
tears.
amount of tears for one of these episodes, either from us or from the listeners. If they
Yeah.
This show, I came on this show. I did not expect gotcha journalism, but
Well, when you don't have to pay attention
we haven't
to
even
the
gotten
truth.
started
Yeah, truth or
with the
facts,
gotchas.
we get pretty far. Yeah.
no, we cooked a lasagna tonight, and we used a lot of onion, and it's still in the air, so my eyes are very watery.
I didn't know that you could weaponize onions like that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, when I cut onions, I guess I close my eyes. I don't like to show weakness, so
That's
to
how
the
you-
onion.
That's how
yeah.
you've cut
You don't want-
two of your fingers off.
Yeah,
By
but it was worth
making
it.
cuts with your eyes closed.
It was worth it not to cry in front of the
Yeah,
vegetables.
you don't want the onion to know that you're.
Wait, is an onion is a vegetable? It's not a fruit, is it?
I think it's like a root or something.
It is the bulb. It's like the root. Yes.
Oh
Wow.
my god! I used to have a boss who would eat onions like a fruit. And
If you throw onion in dirt, it'll grow onion.
oh my god!
What?
Just like a piece of onion, like a
Yeah, well, if you cut an onion in half, or
Yeah.
if you have one that's been sitting in your cabinet for too long and it's sprouted, then you just throw it in dirt and you can grow yourself a new onion.
I didn't know this.
does that work if you saute it?
Does it grow with
I don't
one
know.
onion? Like one onion equals another onion, or now you have an onion plant that grows anew? I guess it's just the one root.
Let's forget about cars. I want to talk about onions.
No, this is no.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
welcome to another episode of New for
for 96.
Almost in unison that
96.
time. Yeah.
Tape delayed.
Yeah. So we have on our show tonight repeat guest Brad
guest.
Brownell.
This is my
A veteran of 1.5 episodes.
One and a
Yes.
half. Yeah,
Quarter.
Exactly.
This is
One and
my
a quarter.
twice and a half episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have an intro lined up. You know him from Radwood, Jalopnik, EV Pulse, formerly Flat Sixes,
Yes.
formerly gas powered, a general online heretic, Bradley Brownell.
Yes. And hopefully soon you'll know me from Autopia 2099.
Indeed.
right.
We'll
That's
talk
right.
about that later down the show.
I heard you guys had another Radwood alum on the show recently.
We can't confirm or
did.
deny other
Yeah.
guests.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
They were
We,
very curious about like it was almost like rivalrous, if that's a word. Like they're like, "You're Brad's gonna be on the
It's
show."
not. It's not. I don't even have to look it up. It's not.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, we had
Yeah.
Art and Lane on from DWA, and of
Oh,
course
you had
Radwood.
both of them.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. I thought it was just Lane. Okay.
we had.
That'll be a fun show.
Yeah, it was a good show. And
Yeah, it's
actually, by the time this airs, you will have already heard it. So yes, it was a good show.
It was a good show.
There you go.
It was a good show.
Excellent. So, yeah, hit me with the hard questions. The ones that were too softball for them.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Okay.
Well, we went through the
Uh,
onion questions already, so I'm
Yeah.
all out.
We don't have conclusive answers, so we're gonna have to look those up. We might have
Yeah.
those in the show notes about how to grow an onion.
Yeah.
So we were gonna ask some questions about like new cars and stuff, but it was mostly boring. But the Ionic 5,
Yeah.
cool. The
I'm
Hyundai,
Very cool.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
you're
I dig
into
it.
it. It looks really cool. Like
Yeah.
it looks like, oh, why don't people make cars that look like this?
It actually
Yeah,
looks futuristic.
absolutely.
Yeah, in a good way.
Absolutely. That car design, I mean, Kevin, you know my take on car design.
Yeah.
Usually bad. But
Yeah.
I will say this is something that Hyundai has done really well in recent years,
Yeah.
is like actually investing in design that makes it stand out from the crowd.
Totally.
Like you see a Hyundai and you don't mistake it for anything else.
And the
No.
stuff that's coming out like next, like this and the new Tucson. I'm obsessed with the new Tucson.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I'm like, oh, they're the only people. Like you look at what BMW's doing and it's just laughable. And then you see these Hyundais and it's like, oh, they're the only people like doing this.
And
Yeah,
I-
they're going for it. They're going for
everybody
it and
else-
nailing it.
Everybody else has been trying to copy more upmarket brands for the last 20 years, basically.
And it's really hard to do that because I feel like if you're trying to be upmarket, you end up being kind of like a simulation of luxury or something premium. And they're doing it
Yeah.
really well though. It doesn't look like an attempt. It is actually really nice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I've loved every Hyundai that I've been in, even all the way down to the Accent. I
And-
drove the Accent sedan with a stick, and it was actually a lot of fun.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you I feel like it was all of a sudden almost with basically in the last 5 years, but I guess they have
Yeah.
steadily.
Even within that, I think it's the last 2 years.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
so. Because there was just like even the like early Genesis stuff. I mean, they were good attempts, but they were pretty bland looking.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, it was just like, all right,
You
let's
know,
just do it.
a couple of years ago when Akio Toyota said we're not going to build boring cars anymore at
Yeah.
Pebble Beach,
Mhm.
it was like a big famous thing, and then he, announced a Prius and a Camry.
Yeah. With more
the Camry
lines.
had a wing.
Yeah.
I'll have you know.
Right? Yeah. I think that was the point where Hyundai was like, "Oh, we're going to do that, but for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to actually not build boring cars." So they
Yeah.
built stuff that actually looks exciting and interesting, and outside of the norm.
And save cars, it just saved the life of Tiger Woods. People were tweeting, it was like
35 articles about that.
Yeah,
What
it
was the
newsworthy.
GV80?
Yeah, it was kind of
Very
funny because
newsworthy.
it almost seemed like advertorials because they were just so like, what car was Tiger Woods driving? Like, here is a look
Yeah.
inside, like the GV80.
If maybe this is a little dark, but maybe if he had died, it would be like the 550 Spider,
Oh yeah,
and
Yeah.
people would know.
We can
The
cut that out if you
GV80.
want. We can cut that. We can cut that out.
People
the
would know
Ioniq-
what the GV80 is for the next 45 years.
That's true.
are there like meanings behind the names or like the initials? Are they even initials?
I don't think so. Kevin
Roman
might know.
No, I don't know.
Grand vehicle.
Yeah, I don't
80.
know.
Gun
So-
vehicle. Yeah,
The Ionic 5, the crease on the side, it's good.
I like it.
It's
It's
good.
good.
Yeah, Yeah,
It's
I
cool.
dig it.
Yeah, I at first I didn't know if that was just like maybe a little too much or if it would age well, but no, it's grown on me a lot.
It probably won't age well, but who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cars only last 5 to 10 years
Right.
these days anyway. So like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
totally. So
The-
Who
okay,
cares
so-
what the third owner thinks about the design?
Yeah.
right, or the 15th owner in the case
Yeah.
of everything I
By
buy.
then they
So-
will have retrofitted like an ice engine back into it because the battery has gone flat at that point.
You
I don't
have
think
like
so, but maybe. Well, you are in Texas, so
Yeah.
maybe.
Can you tell us about that Taycan you drove.
The base.
The
The
base.
base.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's not a base. It's a what do they call it? Standard model.
Oh, really?
Standard-
So it's not actually like part of the official nomenclature. Like
No.
Oh no, I know. It
Porsche-
would say base on
Porsche
it, but
does not like the word base. They like standard model.
I always thought that there was like in some sort of not necessarily like identified on the car itself or on any of the stickers, but I thought there was like a sheet somewhere that identified it as a base model. Like if you look at the
Those
VIN,
sheets were paperless, Chris. Come on.
whatever. If you look at the
Uh,
VIN, sometimes it says like base model or something like that. But
No, come
I guess
on.
it's not
The-
official.
The short version of it is it's the best car that's ever been made
Oh my god.
Okay.
in the history of cars. Yeah.
Okay.
Sizzling
Can I
quote
takes
you on that?
starting
Yes,
right
you
now.
can quote me
Okay.
on that.
All right.
I will stand by that until I drive something that's better. But
Is
Go-
this because it's pink?
the pink was very good.
I like
The-
the pink.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Pink, it was pink exterior with purple interior, which was just the best spec in the world.
And
Yeah.
the official color is
Um,
called Frozen Berry Metallic. Right?
Frozen berry,
Yeah.
and I think it was a raspberry violet interior or something like
Wow.
Okay.
that. But it was beautiful to look at.
Yep.
But the thing that I really liked about it was, for one thing, the range was amazing. It probably could have easily done 300 miles. I think I did 250 and there was like 45 miles left,
Wow.
but I didn't try at all. I was like actually hammering it through some really hard roads,
Yeah.
uphill most of the way.
Wow.
So we went north out of Los Angeles and up Highway 33, if you're familiar with that.
We were just talking about that last night.
Okay.
The previous episode.
All right. So I went up Highway 33 and then back out to the coast and then back down. And what I didn't know on this trip was that it was a German spec car, so it wouldn't talk to the US DC fast chargers. So it could only charge at 50 kilowatts DC instead of the 350 kilowatts DC, which it's supposed to.
Oh.
So it took over an hour to charge it back enough to get back to LA, and I was already running late. So I felt like a real dipshit when I returned the car because I told him I would have it back around like 5 or 6, and it ended up being like 8:15 by the time I got there.
Uh-huh.
So he was very understanding, thankfully, but I still felt really guilty about it. That's that Midwest guilt. But I think it really cuts the balance because I've driven the Turbo and the Turbo S. I haven't driven the 4S, but I drove the Turbo and Turbo S, and they were really, really good cars, but they were just too much. They were too fast. They were too expensive. They were too, over the top. But this thing at $79,990 or whatever it is, with a few options, you can get out the door at like 85 and have a really good everyday car that I would be.
And it makes it competitive too with like when people want to compare it with like a Model S or something like that.
Yeah.
This just is so much more
so
appealing.
the thing you'll get with a base Model S is the base Model S is all-wheel drive. They don't have a rear-wheel drive one anymore.
Right.
And you'll get technically more range because Tesla rates their own cars and numbers don't matter. So when Porsche says it'll get, they haven't released a number for the rear-wheel drive model yet, but I'm guessing it'll be somewhere around like 245. Because it'll use less energy than the 4S, and the 4S I think is like 220 or something like that. But it'll easily, I think if you're just cruising on the highway on flat roads all day, you'll do 300 miles no problem.
And there's just there's just a single battery option right now.
Two.
two. Okay.
Yeah, there's two. There's this is the one that I'm talking about is the bigger battery.
Okay.
Because the one that I drove was a performance battery plus is what they call it, and the standard one is performance battery.
Yeah.
So there's probably a relatively significant difference between the two, 40 or 50 miles or something like that. But
that's really appealing to me, just like this base model. Kevin and I have had like we're on kind of different sides of this, but range doesn't matter so much to me if I were in the market for an electric car, mainly because at that point, one, for my use, I'm not going out of town with it, but also I would just be looking for a good car experience, EV or not.
Yeah. Right.
And that seems so appealing. And it, for me, in my mind, once you cross a certain range threshold, you know, whether it has 50 or 100 more miles of range, like the alternatives, it kind of doesn't matter to me. Like, so long as it can get 50, 180, 200.
Yeah, I would say over 200 probably. My I don't remember exactly what the weight difference was, but the bigger battery obviously has a weight penalty to it. I included that in my review at EV Pulse, so if you go check that out, I have the weight differences there. But it was a pretty significant difference. And without the motors on the front axle, you actually have a little bit better steering. It's lighter on the front end, and it turns in a little better. And I mean, it's been a while since I've driven the Turbo S, so like I can't compare them back to back. But from what I remember, you know, you definitely felt that all-wheel drive pull. Whereas with the rear-wheel drive, it feels more sports car. It feels lighter weight. It's a few 100 pounds lighter, so it's a pretty significant difference.
Yeah,
and cool. So if you're going to go with a lightweight car anyway, I would go with the lighter battery. And you do lose a little bit of horsepower there, but I don't think it would be all that noticeable.
Yeah.
With the smaller battery,
especially like not for day-to-day use and puttering around. Yeah.
And I mean, it's still 380 horsepower. That's plenty.
Yeah, definitely.
So
that's cool.
That's my opinion.
The only downside would be the base model wheels, which I was not a fan of. But
you can definitely put different wheels on it. I grew to like them over the day of actually seeing them in person. I didn't hate them. They were very Fuchsy.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a big Fuchs fan anyway. I removed the Fuchs from my 912, but I kind of grew to enjoy them, and I thought they were kind of neat, and they're very aero efficient. So that's kind of part of it.
Yeah.
But I definitely wouldn't want the 20s.
Right.
Because you get a range hit on going to a bigger wheel, and you get worse ride quality.
Yeah.
So
I almost wish they had like an option that was a little bit more futuristic as opposed to sporty as far as like aero goes. Not quite not aero disc. I don't know what I'm thinking of, but basically like EV cars, when they come out, like whenever there's an EV version of an ICE car, they always have like a really distinct wheel to differentiate it.
Well, so a good example of that would be the Ioniq 5.
Oh yeah.
If it had a wheel like that on the Taycan, it would be amazing.
Oh, that would be cool.
That'd be very cool.
That would be cool. Yeah. I think the base is interesting. I texted you after you drove it because I was like, because they had the Turbo S and the Turbo and the 4S, and I just assumed they had some padding in the name, so it's like we could go lower if we need to. But this ostensibly this is the lowest that for now, for the foreseeable future, for this generation, this is the lowest Taycan will see as far as price and performance.
I think so.
I
would guess that they might roll something out that's a little lower spec for maybe Chinese market or something to get a lower price.
Well, I thought that's what this was supposed to be or something.
That's where this came from, was from the Chinese market. Yeah.
Okay.
They had it there for almost 6 months before they rolled it out here.
Okay.
And I was always, the whole time that it was over there, I was very jealous that they got that. I was like, oh, that would be the perfect spec. And then I drove it, and it's the perfect spec.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But it's, just for cost cutting or something like that, they might try to introduce something a little lower end. The even the rear wheel drive one still uses a 2-speed transmission. So I don't know. Maybe they can offer
okay. I was curious
something
about
with
that.
a 1-speed, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just to save a few bucks. But
did you feel that shift happen when you were driving it on canyon roads and stuff, or wherever you were?
You do, but you kind of don't. I mean, it's a very quick thing, and you're really the engine or the motor goes all the way up to like 18,000 RPM, so you really don't notice the drop that much.
Would it be?
But it's definitely there for efficiency.
Yeah.
When you're rolling on the highway, you're rolling in second gear.
It is. I know it's meant to be more of a luxury experience than a sporty one, but I'd almost wonder.
Oh no, it's a very sporty experience.
Well, it's also very sporty. But as far as like it's a big. It can be an isolated experience if you want it to be essentially.
Sure.
Well, the thought. So where I was going to go with that is essentially, I almost wish there was like a mode where if you couldn't feel the shift, where it would just shift a little bit harder or something like when you're accelerating, just to get that sensation if you were missing that in an EV. Yeah.
The weirdest thing about this is, it's definitely the sportiest EV on the market. It feels way more like a sports car than it does a sedan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything's very. Go ahead.
When I drove the Turbo S, it felt very much like a 700 horsepower Boxster.
Yeah.
Or Cayman, because it's got a roof. Because all of that weight is so low down and in between the wheelbase that you really get that mid-engine kind of feel. So it's very sporty. The steering is incredible. I think it's 992 derived steering. I don't know that for sure, but
I think I remember hearing about that.
I think it's related. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. It's a really, really good driving car. It's one of the best driving cars I've ever driven.
Yeah.
And it's probably as a whole car experience. Yeah. It's probably the best car on the market.
Nice. Wow. Kevin and I have driven one at the Porsche dealer in North Houston. What was that, a 4S?
No, that was a turbo.
That was a turbo. Okay.
But also, like, we don't have turns here, so we didn't get to turn the wheel.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was very impressive. I would love to experience on like California twisties, like any of these.
Yeah.
Well, I know that when they're coming off lease in 2 years, I'm probably going to have to buy one. So
that's what I'm
you're welcome to drive it
too.
anytime.
So like when they do come off lease or when they hit the used market, I wonder if there's going to be a depreciation factor or if they're going to be like Model S's for when they were first coming out. In that they didn't depreciate much, but
I don't know. I mean, as Porsches go, they're making a bunch of them. They made 20,000 of them last year.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's selling really well, right?
Yeah, they're selling them as fast as they can build them.
That's amazing.
And the production line was shut down for 2.5 months last year, and they still made 20,000 of them.
Wow.
And that was when all of them were over $100,000.
Yeah.
So now they've got one that's under that number, and
that
I only expect that to
extra amazing too, considering how much you can customize a Porsche. Like they're just like as opposed to like a Model S where you can customize it to a certain extent, but with Porsche, I mean, it's just down to everything.
There's 2 interior colors.
Yeah,
that's all the options you get.
Yeah,
there's 2 wheel choices. That's all the options you get, and there's 5 colors. That's all the options you get.
And if you repress the page, there's only 4 colors now.
Right? Yeah. They take them away. Yeah. So like every Tesla is the same.
Yeah.
And white's the only free color, so all of them are white.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. No, when I used the Porsche Builder, like, I mean, I spent a lot of time. There are just so many things, like just like anything else in the lineup. But
I really thoroughly enjoy that car, and I think I hope that they'll depreciate just like any other, Panamera or whatever.
Yeah.
And the great thing about the base, the thing that most people haven't really noticed is, albeit it's smaller than a Panamera, but the standard model Taycan is less expensive and more powerful than the base Panamera.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, interesting.
It's also, and I don't recall this, is it a 2+2 as well?
You can option it with a 5th seat.
Okay.
So it's usually it's a 2+2, but you can get it with a fifth seat.
Okay.
Very cool.
And now the Sport Turismo is coming out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
It looks good.
I wonder. I know that the Panamera Sport Turismo did not wasn't a big seller, but I don't think it needed to be. It was just a cool exercise. I don't know that they were hoping that'd be. I mean, I'm sure every car they hope will be profitable, but that was just a neat exercise, I thought. And this Sport Turismo I'm sure it will actually be more popular. I don't know why. It's just a feeling, I guess, but it is cool.
Well, they lifted it and they gave it a roof rack, so they can call it a CUV, and people will buy it.
That is true. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
You're speaking to a Buick Touareg owner. So.
That is true. Yeah. So, do they make a Panamera hybrid still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
2 of them.
There's 2 of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's the SE hybrid.
Okay.
And then the Turbo SE hybrid.
There's not a
which is
plug-in one.
Insane amounts of power.
Yeah.
It's like 680 horsepower or 700 or something.
Yeah. But there's no plug-in version.
No, they're both plug-ins.
Oh, there are. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
all of the Porsche
interesting.
hybrids right now are plug-in.
Okay.
Which there's only 2. Because there's the Cayenne and the Panamera.
Yeah. I was very out of
Well,
the loop
2
on that.
Panameras and 1 Cayenne.
Yeah.
How far away is that Macan electric?
I don't actually know the year, but it's going to take over Macan production, and Macan has already been LCI'd.
Yeah.
So,
You
so
speak our language.
it's coming soon. It'll be within the next couple of years, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah,
That'll be
that'll
cool.
be a big seller for the company.
For sure.
Especially if they keep the base price similar, because they start at 45, I think, for
that would be a great
standard
value. Yeah.
2.0 T.
Yeah. And it's already something that's so popular as is. So if you added that compelling factor, that would be really cool. So that kind of segues to my question. This is like a random question I had derived from a thought, but unbiased take. Do you think no, I mean, do you see anything, and I can't even envision a car being like a cultural hit in the way that like the original Miata was, or even the PT Cruiser or the new Beetle. Like, I can't imagine something actually sweeping through the culture. Partially, everyone likes what they like. Like, our culture is so diversified. People are focused on 100 different things. Back in 1990, there was like 5 things.
Sure.
There was only 5 things.
I don't know. So do you mean
in the 90s, there was like 5 scandals in the 90s, and each one took 2 years, and that was the only thing. You had one thing. There was O.J. Simpson, and then there was like Monica Lewinsky. Those are the only 2 things that happened.
Yeah, they're dial-up scandals.
And then it was on to Y2K.
And now, I have a quick Y2K story, but I worked as a cashier at Target for like 2 months before Y2K, and this lady was buying, and I was being trained to ring up the cashier, and she was buying like 40 or 50 cans of cat food. They were all different. Each one was different. I don't know why it made a difference. Like, I would have had to ring them up anyway, but it was like each one was different. She was stocking up for Y2K.
Oh my God.
And now as a cat dad, now I understand. But at the time, I thought it was a little bit silly.
Yeah.
But no. So I think about like the '89 Miata and how that like swept the culture. Not just car culture. The PT Cruiser was like, it was a thing, and it's so hard to see any car being,
I don't know,
penetrating in that way.
I disagree.
Thought. Yeah.
Okay.
Brad,
okay.
All
right. If you're gonna let me go first, I'll go first.
Please.
Chris likes to answer the questions for the guests.
Yeah.
I think that everything in the car world is so homogenized right now that if someone brings something out that's different, like the original Miata or the PT Cruiser or whatever, that a cultural shift would happen. I think one car can make that cultural shift.
Yeah.
It just depends on them making something good enough. or different enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't necessarily have to be good
norm.
enough, because, say, for like Kevin's example of the PT Cruiser,
Sure.
or the new Beetle, even.
For what it did, the PT Cruiser was perfect. It got attention. It was supposed to be a Plymouth, by the way, and then they killed Plymouth and turned it
Right.
into a Chrysler. And it didn't fit any of Chrysler's other design at all at the time, but
Right.
whatever.
Just like the 300M was supposed to be an Eagle.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, it wasn't. No, I guess you're right. Yeah, because they had the Eagle Premier.
Right. The 300M was the
was,
next generation Eagle Premier.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was like last minute rebadged.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on. I'm sorry.
It served its purpose because it was polarizing design.
Yeah.
It was throwback design, which, there's nothing more late 90s nostalgia than 1940s nostalgia.
Yeah.
Right.
They didn't throw back to anything. It was just literally generic 1940s car.
Yep.
We're making America great again.
Yeah.
That's right. Ronald Reagan said that.
Yeah.
But I think that it was a family car that was relatively inexpensive, that had style, that a regular guy could relate to. And I think that was like ready for that time, because everything else was another another period of sort of bland design. Everything had sort of become that gone on from like the 95 Taurus to 2001 was all kind of like jelly beaned and rounded and arrowed to death. And when that came out, they were like, arrow be damned, we're going to make something that looks weird and serves the American family. Yeah, exactly.
My one story with that is my mom used to travel a lot for work, and she would just get a new rental car, or just a different rental car every time she landed somewhere. And she once got a PT Cruiser, and she is not a car person. She drove it for about 5 miles and then returned it and said, I have to get a different car. This thing is terrible.
I mean, it was a neon.
Yeah.
It was a neon. It just had a different body on it.
Yeah.
That's the whole.
Before this little road we went down, you were saying you could see something culturally breaking through in the way that the PT Cruiser did.
Yeah.
And I just find it hard because, like, obviously I can't imagine what is not there, but like obviously a sports car is not going to do it.
No.
And even something like a Honda E, I don't think anyone would care in America.
Posit that it is an electric car, because what kind of electric car? It's going to be like an electric pickup truck. Like the Tesla Model S was like a cultural hit.
It kind of was. I mean, to a certain extent, the fact that not everyone could afford one was part of what made it a hit.
I think when it
it was the thing that like kids aspire to have now.
Yeah.
Because they go, oh my God, it's so fast.
Yeah.
The same people who thought the Bugatti Veyron was the best car in the world now look at a Model S and go, oh my God, that's the best car in the world.
Yeah.
And people who don't know anything about cars.
Yeah, exactly. I think that for me, it's when it enters into pop culture, like when TV writers like write that in as like a status symbol or something, or like a PT Cruiser now as a mark of shame. Someone's not doing so hot. They have a PT Cruiser. What was that, a car in Breaking Bad?
Yeah, it was on Breaking Bad.
He bought his son a PT Cruiser.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But I mean, it's hard to see something breaking through at a level. Like I sarcastically, angrily said, like it'll probably be like an electric pickup truck or something, because I can't see any like smaller vehicle capturing the public imagination, because half of our country has to have a pickup truck and the other one wants to.
You know what's funny about that? I think that if the Bolt EUV that just came out, if that had been a Tesla, that would be the car.
Yeah.
Change nothing else about it, just the badge.
Yeah.
$30,000.
Yeah.
Good financing, all that.
What's so funny is that like, GM really like stuck its toe in with like making new brands in different times, and with Geo, and stuff, and it's
And
like
Saturn.
now would be the time, and Saturn, now would be the time to like, say, oh, we're backing this company, which a shell company of GM made, and we're putting out this car, like, because I totally agree. If it didn't have a bow tie on the front, I think it would help so much. It's like, and I won't rant for 10 minutes, but I remember in the 2011s, in the 2012s, I remember like the 5th attempt to like jumpstart MySpace, and like they got Justin Timberlake involved and stuff, and it's like, yeah, it's going to be this social platform for musicians and stuff, and it's like the name is so toxic. You could literally start with anything else and you'd be better off.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like the same with Chevy. You know what I mean? It's like like, unfortunately, it's true because the Bolt did really good things, and just it's And this is a compelling new product, and it's like if it had any other badge on it, if you just invent a new thing out of thin air, that's more exciting than Chevrolet, whatever we're calling it.
Yep. GM, as much good as they've done, they have never known how to market anything.
Yeah.
No.
They haven't marketed successfully a car since the 1968 Camaro.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. That's true.
I mean, it's been decades of resting on their laurels.
Yeah, I think that's just it. Like, they, for some reason, like, oh, we know how to do this. So, you know, everybody go home early. Like, we got this. Like, it's good. And it's not good. But I mean,
but Bob Lutz put portholes on cars.
Yes, he did.
I mean, GM makes really good cars. We have the Buick Regal Tour X. It's an amazing car. I love everything about it, except that it's gas.
Sport cross of its day, one might say.
One might say.
Yeah.
And it's an excellent car, but they didn't tell anyone about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, literally, we bought it because there was a Jalopnik article about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not because there was any, it was like, I was at work one day, and I think Eric Schilling wrote an article about it, and I saw it, and I sent it to my wife, and she's like, oh yeah, let's go test drive one.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's just it. Like, the market obviously is small for wagons now, but anything that's a wagon or available as a wagon is just so unique and good. Like, the TSX, with the Gen with the wagon, it was fine, but it's instantly so much cooler because there was a wagon version. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's true.
But it's a legitimately good car. Like, the leather is, it's a German car. It's a German.
I was going to say it's an Opel. Right.
Like, level below luxury.
Yeah.
It's not, it's like, I would say it's like on par with an entry level 5 Series.
Yeah.
It's pretty close to that.
Okay.
The infotainment's good. The radar cruise is good. The leather is nice. It's got plenty of space. It drives pretty well. It looks really good, I think. It's a very pretty car.
When I see
so
one
rare
on the road annually, it's awesome.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly the problem. Nobody told anyone about it.
And I don't even see the sedan either.
Right. GM made it, and they brought it here because they had some contract with Opel to do it. And they were just like, yeah, we have to sell it, but like, don't sell a bunch of them because like, we don't want to do that.
I feel like what they did was like the sheet that said that it existed sat on someone's desk, and then they were like, oh shit.
They went on vacation.
It's kind of late now. Should we just discount them? Like, since they're going out of production.
Yeah.
So, they're not paperless. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So how many, last question on that, but do you know what the production numbers were on that?
No.
Okay.
You got to find out.
They don't actually,
I bet it was way less than Sport Crosses.
They never actually split it out, so it's all Regals.
Okay.
But allegedly, it was more than half of all Regal sales were Tour X's.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's surprising. Okay.
I am still thinking it like a low volume Buick is still probably like 75,000 cars a year or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because it's like they sell like 72,000 in Michigan to like employees.
Exactly. I guarantee there is someone in Michigan who has one with delivery mileage on it wrapped up in their garage, and they're hoping that one day it'll be their retirement.
But is that like an employee thing, or like who does?
No, that's just a Michigan thing.
Why is that a Michigan thing?
Because you got to support the big three, man.
Oh.
Is that where the Grand Nationals that had like a mile on them
all of them?
From? Okay.
All of them.
Almost all of them. Almost all of the Monte Carlo Intimidator editions.
Yeah.
a bunch of like Malibu Maxes.
Yeah.
Weird, crazy stuff. People
That's
just
amazing.
anything that only came out for like 6 months, or they only sold a few of, in GM terms, a few is like 30,000.
Yeah.
Somebody's got one mothballed.
If someone mothballed an Aspen hybrid, that would be legit. Cool.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I every time I see an Aspen, which is again not very often, I look to see if it's a hybrid, because they made like less than 1,000.
Yeah.
They started a production line for a hybrid and they ended it after like 600 cars. I mean, they were all like terrible the hybrids. Biggest. This is like the F-35 of cars.
I
as far as boondoggles go,
they tried so hard to make that upmarket.
I don't think they even made a hybrid version of the Durango upon which the Aspen is based.
No, they did not. No.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about Autopia 2099? I'm just burning through this list. We've got so much stuff here.
Let's talk about what it is, and then what is the meaning of the name.
So Autopia 2099. Sorry, I've been drinking. Is a car show in the vein of a Luftgekühlt or a Radwood, where it's all electrified vehicles. So we're bringing together an appreciation of anything that's powered by electricity. So that can be a hybrid, that can be a plug-in, it can be mobility devices, it can be, anything. Like I said,
a rascal, like George Costanza or the rascal.
Yes,
okay,
yes. Why not? Why not? If you want to bring your EasyGo, you're welcome to bring that. Anyway. Anything that plugs into the holes.
Yeah. The
oh man,
the sparky holes.
A great what's that actor?
The Frogger episode.
That's is that the official tagline, by the way?
Oh God, I can't think of it. Anyway, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Good reference.
Anyway, I just watched that episode the other day because it's my favorite episode.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Anyhow. Anything that plugs into the holes is welcome.
Yeah.
So it's going to go down in early December in the Los Angeles area. It's still unofficial, so I won't say who it is, but we have a major OEM as the title presenting sponsor, which will be interesting. It's a manufacturer who's been making EVs for a while.
Okay.
We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
But look for that announcement soon. I was actually emailing with them today, and they're totally stoked on it. So I am too.
Very cool.
Excellent. Very cool.
Yeah. So are there plans to make this traveling, or is it in a fixed location?
For the time being, I don't see it going outside of Los Angeles. It'll probably be a once a year thing until, at the very least, adoption rates go up a little bit in other places. I could see a Seattle or a Portland.
Yeah.
But probably not for the next couple of years.
So no, like Tulsa, Oklahoma.
No
meetup.
No Tulsa, Oklahoma. Maybe an Austin. I could see an Austin.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
They've got could be interesting.
Stuff up there, yeah.
But that's down the line. We're focused on getting this one done, and hopefully in a good way.
Yeah.
So I every day I wake up and I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball. I know we still have like 10 months to go, but I'm still like, oh, there's so much to do and we haven't done enough yet. So
No, but it's got off to a good start. Me. Yeah, you guys have social media presence and a website. What's the address?
Yes, it's autopia2099.com, which actually redirects to Kevin's website right now.
For the time being, yeah.
For the time being. And then Autopia2099 on Twitter and Instagram, and
we got a listener.
Yeah.
And occasionally I'm on Facebook. If more people join the Facebook group, maybe I'll be there more often, but I really hate Facebook. So
yeah.
So follow us on all those socials, and I think it's a good time. We're trying to bring together the community. I know that there's going to be some very, very interesting cars there. Bisimoto said that he's going to bring 9 cars.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
And I
Wait,
can think of 2.
Bisimoto.
I have no idea what the other 7
Who
are gonna
does
be.
like
Bisimoto who made
upgrades
my
for
exhaust
cars.
and who's a extremely amazing,
for gas-powered
cool,
cars. Yeah,
genuine
that's
dude.
cool. Okay.
Yeah, no, he's been really into EVs for years, and he did like he's done a lot of really cool builds, and he is a genius. Like he is a super smart dude, and doing cool stuff. And I wanted to you approached me about this in the end of last year, and I've been doing the graphics and stuff for Autopia, and Brad, obviously I believed in his idea for this, and it helps that Brad worked on, we worked on Radwood together, and Brad like ran that successfully, with a team to what it is now. And so obviously it's something, there's know-how, and I'm sure like for you, it's like, okay, well, I know what I did before and I'm going to do this different. And that's exactly how I approached the design of like the branding and everything. It's like, oh, well, I kind of like, I did this before, so I don't want to do that again. I want to do something different. I want to do this. And so it's cool to like, not say like have a second chance. Makes sounds like bad, like sounds like it ended or it didn't go well, but it's like just to, it's like I can directly apply something that I learned, and I have a chance to directly, because no 2 jobs are the same, but this is almost like very valuable
similar
experience that's similar, that you can transfer that knowledge base and everything. And so I'm so proud of the work that that we're doing and that we're coming up with, and the look.
Branding is good.
And I've got I'm excited about it. It's going to be awesome.
So we should talk about the hook of the show, which is that it's a retro futuristic celebration. So it's like bringing that optimism of the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and well, maybe not the 40s, but the 50s for sure. Of that optimism for the future of, tail fins and rocket age,
World of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
the
World's Fair.
Fair, exactly. That was the word I was trying to come up with.
The wig factory.
Yes.
In the Sun Sphere.
The Sun Sphere.
Yeah.
So trying to bring some of that optimism back. We've been, I feel, kind of in like an emotional dark ages, certainly for the last year, but definitely before that as well. I would say since like 2008, more or less, maybe 2001. So maybe 20 years we've been in this funk as a world, if not a nation. And I think going into the rest of the 20s, we have to be optimistic about the future. And part of that is being optimistic about electrified transportation.
Yeah.
And I think that making it feel like that kind of the future has so much promise, World's Fair, space exploration, kind of feel to it, is going to make all the difference.
Yeah.
So, Luftgekult, for lack of a better term, has a very hipster Instagram kind of feel. Radwood definitely has that like over the top exuberance of the late 80s, early 90s, where everything is bright colors, everything is, crazy and fun. The music is buoyant and all over the place. And I think that having a feel for an event is very important. And getting that right for Autopia, hopefully that'll be the thing that puts us over the edge and people will remember us forever.
And it's very much like it's a part of, for lack of a better term, like it's part of the zeitgeist now. Like EVs are here. They are good.
They're not going anywhere.
Yeah. And like
they're only getting better.
Yeah, because in the 90s when you were talking about EVs, you had the GM EV1, which like it was a nice look into the future, but it just wasn't realistic. Like, we just couldn't see where this was going to go.
The technology wasn't ready.
Yeah.
They were still using lead acid batteries. They were still using nickel metal hydride. It just wasn't scalable and it wasn't affordable.
Yeah.
Did I tell you when I was 9 years old, I rode an electric Fiero?
No.
Wow.
Yeah. I wish
Like somebody built one?
Yeah, it was like I lived in North Carolina, and I was near like kind of near Duke, and I don't know. I have no idea the backstory. I'll have to ask my mom, but it was like there was a research center nearby that built an electric Fiero, and I got to ride it. And I remember it had like a normal plug. I think it had like a retractable,
like
plug.
just like a wall outlet.
Yeah,
plug.
Yeah, like it plugged into the wall, the holes.
There was a whole,
and I remember it being just like the coolest thing, and it was a Fiero with like graphics on the side. I have a photo of it somewhere, but it had like this like research park, vinyl.
Everybody who built an electric car in the 80s and 90s put electric on the side of it. They just had to. That was mandatory.
Yeah.
I have to find this. So I'll send this later on, but I didn't realize that there was like this DIY home engineer community making just EVs out of anything. And
I mean, that's what we want to get. I mean, that's like a big part of it.
Yeah.
For years, that's all there was.
Yeah.
I mean, from the electric Leopard in like 79 through 82.
Yeah.
Which was a car that was converted to electric with like
amazing
45 batteries in the back. They took up the whole back seat and the hatch, so you couldn't really do anything with it. And you still only got 40 miles of range, and you could only top out at like 55 miles an hour.
Wow.
Not a great car, but like from then to the mid 90s, it was all home built stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the majority of it was home built stuff. And really that's what Tesla evolved from, was some dudes building stuff in their garage.
Yeah.
And eventually they figured out that they had a viable platform. And that was when Elon came in. So he wasn't really the founder, even though he paid to be the founder.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing.
Okay, so
anyway,
I just put something in the Zoom chat here.
This makes for great audio, by the way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, so we'll post this too, but I came across this at a Half Price Books, which is a discount bookstore in Texas, and it's
not just in Texas.
Yeah, it's build your own electric vehicle. This is when I found out. So the cover has what appears to be a 959 replica.
No.
But it's actually
the cover.
Oh yeah, the cover.
You said 2 files.
I was looking at the bottom file. Again, this is great audio content.
Yeah, I know. Well, it has like.
My God.
It has the good cups on it.
Yeah. Okay. I have this book.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Yeah, I have this book.
Okay.
It's a good book.
The whole thing was.
I mean, it's not a good book, but it's
I like how Chris didn't buy it, but he's showing us.
I know.
The book
I wish I had bought it. It was only like $15, but yeah, like this whole book seemed to be about this guy who was making.
That bookstore's out of business,
Porsches.
So it's in a landfill now.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, the other photo is of a GT1 an
electric GT1. That's like my dream.
Yeah.
If I could get a GT1 with a Taycan swap.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm
God.
sold.
Well,
forever.
there you go.
That's the only car. That's the only car. You get rid of the rest.
Well, I'm gonna keep like a search out for
make a trailer out of the Tourex.
A wrecked GT1 for you.
And then you got everything.
Yeah.
You just tow that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so the show I think is going to be a big hit. I think it has potential to have legs.
Yeah.
And I we want to grow a community out of this, and we want to kind of in the same way that Radwood did, where we were early adopters and we saw a wave coming, and we jumped in at the leading edge of that wave. And I think kind of the same thing is happening with Autopia, where there's already an existing wave. We just have to ride it.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be the first ones out there. And we have to be the ones that develop a name and become first to market, so that people associate us with this EV movement.
So was there like an existing like show in Southern California or like a gathering of these like EV guys that are doing the home built stuff?
Apparently there are, but they're very like splintered and not really well organized. They're kind of run on like small clubs and stuff like that. So trying to reach out to those guys has been very difficult because there's just so so many of them, but also they're only like 4 or 5 cars per little club. So it's like
you find like a forum where it's like they stopped being active in 2004 and it's all photo bucket broken links.
Yeah, that's, I mean, if anything, Facebook should be admonished for killing the modern forum. Because
what about the Tapatalk app? That's how I look at the forum.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
that's how it asks me if I want to look at the forum in the Tapatalk app.
I have never once downloaded Tapatalk.
No one
I did
has,
once, and
no
it was
one.
a mistake.
What?
It's terrible.
But yeah, I mean, they're in. I hate to keep bringing this back to Radwood, but the enthusiasm for rad era cars existed before Radwood. We didn't invent that. You know, people have been caring for those cars for decades. They either bought them new or they bought them secondhand, and they've restored them or kept them nice. And, you know, there's no show for a perfect 88 Fiero GT. But once there was, that guy goes, oh my God, this is where I've always belonged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so the guy who built, you know, a Ford Pinto with, you know, a fork truck electric motor in the back of it that goes 45 miles an hour in his commute to, you know, the dog food factory or wherever he works. That guy has been an enthusiast. He's living the EV life.
He knows,
But he's not part of a community.
Right.
He's just a solo guy who built this for him.
Yeah.
And we're trying to bring all of those individual islands to come together and be one big group.
Yeah.
So that's the hope, is that everyone from, you know, the person who is super enthusiastic about their Tesla all the way down to the guy who built, you know, some you know, half-baked electric project in their garage 35 years ago, and they still keep driving it. You know, that's the weird thing that I've seen about some of these projects. I've seen like electric swapped probes where it's like, this guy's got 300,000 miles on this car because he just daily drives it. It's just his...
You said a probe?
Yeah.
This excites
like a Ford
Kevin.
probe?
Yeah, of course. I didn't mean to say that because I know you're a probe guy, and I'm not gonna.
He's a probe enthusiast.
No, you've piqued my interest.
I know. I don't want to go down that path right now.
Okay, I didn't plan to. I just want to know more about the specific car.
We'll have to leave the probing questions for another episode.
Oh, come on. That's the gotcha. That's the real gotcha.
Yeah.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that there are people that are out there, and trying to find them is difficult.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can.
But
and they find you.
Yeah, I think
that's right.
Like, that's a really good point. Just like how Radwood didn't invent the interest, it just gave like a centralized place to put that interest. Yeah. So and then from there you spawn conversation and community and etc. So like I could totally see how this would work for EVs. Yeah,
that's the hope. I mean, I have the utmost respect for everything that like the EV West guys are doing. And there's a guy in Southern California, Jehu Garcia, that he does EV swapped Volkswagens.
Is it the Z Electric?
Z Electric is a different guy, but those dudes are amazing.
Totally. I've been following them for years. I think it's so cool what they do. Electric
GT, they've built a few. They actually came to Radwood. They brought a 308 and a Fiat Spider. Yeah. And both of those were electric swapped. And they came to the first LA Radwood.
Okay. We were there.
Yeah. Oh, so you may have seen them and maybe don't remember it. Do you remember the guy at that first LA Radwood that had the turbine powered electric FC RX-7?
Yeah, I do remember that. It was really loud.
I think so.
It was super loud.
Yeah.
Because it was an electric swapped car, but it had a turbine powered it
was crazy. Yeah.
Range extender. So he could charge it. He could charge it off of a diesel turbine.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like that it's like silent, and then the loudest thing in the world.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And probably one of the least efficient things in the world because it's just spitting black smoke. So it's definitely like a duality of man kind of thing going on there.
Very much so. We had a little bit of everything for you.
Yeah. But that's the kind of stuff that I want to see at the show. Everything from that to, a brand new Prius or a brand new the hydrogen thing that Toyota makes.
Oh, the Mirai.
There you go.
Yeah.
The new rear-wheel drive one. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's on the LC 500 platform.
Yeah. And if you pull up and you push that water squirt button and you just dump your water at the show, like that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah, gather around, watch this.
Watch that. Hey guys, watch this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna squirt water out of my car.
Oh my god.
You'll be
cool.
tagging it with the water emoji droplets.
Yeah, that's right.
Will
so I think it has potential. I think it's going to be a really interesting show, and I'm excited for the future of the show. I think it would be a little less special if it was multiple locations, especially at this point. I think it needs to be kind of a Lufka Cult-esque once a year travel to the show kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I would love, if anybody wants to do a cross-country road trip in their Model S or whatever, like, more power to you. I want to see you at the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
That'd be very cool. So,
you said, you told me, like, you said if it's, if 200 people in Model 3s show up, it's like, that's 200 people that, there are automakers that would like to have that audience to
absolutely.
show thing. You show a display, you show us something, and it's like, that is a unique way to gather people and show,
the interesting thing about Tesla is they don't advertise.
Right.
So Tesla,
they don't have a PR department.
They don't have a PR department.
Yeah.
There's a very, very low percentage that Tesla will be doing anything with our show. And I've already kind of shuffled that to the back of my head. Like, I'm not going to worry about them. I'm going to focus on everybody else, because if we can attract a bunch of Tesla people, there's nothing that, Honda would want more than to be able to get an avid Tesla person into, what is their hydrogen thing?
Yeah.
Clarity.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
I don't pay attention to hydrogen.
No, it was the FCX Clarity was the original one. I don't know if it's still made.
I'm going to start the hydrogen.
Because now the Clarity is like the Insight.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like we talk about
Ford with a Mach-E. If there's nothing they want more than to get a bunch of Model Y owners and go, okay, sit in our car and see what the difference is.
Yeah, totally.
I hope like an EV1, you'll have to keep it in a special tent so that GM doesn't come and try to claim it.
My goal. So there are some that GM knows where the EV1s are.
Yeah.
They're at universities and they're at museums.
Yeah.
And I'm relatively certain I can get one. I'm trying to get like 5.
Oh shit, that
cool. Would be cool if you like EV1s plural at a single location would be nuts.
My goal, probably not this year, but my goal long term is to have the largest gathering of EV1s since they were new.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are those
not as cool as the EV1, but still cool? Like kind of in that almost that category. It's like just the original Tesla Roadster. Just is
that would be
really cool.
Yeah.
Like
and those are
that's
around.
Something totally around. Yeah.
That's definitely something that exists in Los Angeles.
Yeah. What about the Dodge? Like, maybe you do one in Detroit. We do one in Detroit to get the Dodge concept. That was the Dodge Elise-based concept car.
No, it wasn't Elise-based. It was Europa-based.
Europa-based. Oh god, that's like the distinction of saying like the ES is based on the Avalon, not the Camry. It's like, okay, well, it's like the same. It is the same car. It's just like one has a different wheelbase. But
sure,
yes.
But the Tesla Roadster was Elise-based, and they had to stretch it to fit their batteries.
Yeah.
But the Dodge was literally a Europa off the assembly line.
It was the Europa. Yeah, I forget about the Europa. It was so weird.
Nobody bought them.
No.
Even the gas ones, nobody bought them.
Yeah.
Did they even sell them here?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. I've never seen one.
No.
I've seen one once, but yeah, it's such a weird looking...
No. The like 2009 Europa?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I completely tuned out for a second. I thought we were talking about the Lotus Europa. So
it is a Lotus Europa, but it's the newer one.
Okay, yeah.
But Dodge took that and they put crosshair grills on it. And they put an electric motor in it.
Okay.
Yeah, and they said, government, give us money. We have plans for an EV future.
Yeah.
Well, No, that's
Was
not what
that-
happened.
I thought that was in
Well,
that time period.
yes, it more or less was, but basically what happened was there was a group inside of Chrysler at the time, Daimler Chrysler, before they were sold off, that was looking into hybrids and electrics. And there was a hybrid Jeep, a hybrid van, town and country, and a full electric sports car Dodge. And the hybrid van was actually accepted as a U.S. Postal Service mail carrier.
Oh,
it was like they had a contract for like 10,000 of them.
Wow.
And when Cerberus took over, post bailout, post bankruptcy, Cerberus took over and they shit canned the whole operation. They said all this EV stuff, we're throwing it in the trash. But yes, the Dodge EV Lotus-based thing was actually built, and they had a production line ready to make them. And they built, I think, 3 or 4 of them and had sent it around to all the journalist outlets. So that it was tested in Auto Week and Car and Driver and Road and Track, and it was on the cover of a bunch of stuff. And there was this big hype machine around it. And then Cerberus took over and killed the whole thing.
Wow, it was called the Dodge Circuit EV. It was called the Dodge EV concept car, also called the Dodge Circuit EV, but there's a photo of the rear and it has a badge of the Circuit. Actually, the rear, I think, looks different than the Europa, but I don't know.
Yeah, it could have been just bumper treatments, but I know that it was based on the same chassis as the Europa. Same headlights and everything. The whole the whole nine. So, but yeah, there was a plug-in hybrid Wrangler in 2006 or whatever. And like, and what was the other? There was one that was really interesting because maybe it was the van. There was one of them that they built 200 beta testers.
Yeah.
And they actually leased them to local people in like Rochester Hills and stuff like that outside of Detroit. And they were like, just use these as regular cars and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
And all of those got scrapped too. So
because they all leases?
There was a potential for Dodge Chrysler Jeep to be leading the electric and hybrid wave a decade ago, more than 15 years ago, and it was all scrapped because of
it seems
mismanagement.
Yeah, disjointed, because like the big American manufacturers were just kind of like experimenting with no idea where this was going to go, versus like Toyota, who they experimented.
Exactly. You look at Toyota, like we've talked about this. Toyota, it's like they'll make a plan like 50 years out and say this is where we want to be. I'm serious.
I'm sure
the Prius was the result of like a 25-year plan.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, or something like that. And they'll say like where they want to be and they'll incrementally get there and do that. And Dodge is like, we're thinking quarter to quarter. We don't really have a plan beyond Q3.
Yeah.
Put big motor in truck.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Basically. Yeah. Can we make motor bigger?
I tested the TRX. It was, oh boy.
Yeah. I can't wait to start seeing them on the roads here, assaulting people.
They will be
and stuff.
Here.
I got a lot of flack for that article, and
I read it. I was entertained. I stand by it.
Was it on Jalopnik?
Nothing you said was untrue.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was on Jalopnik. It couldn't have been published anywhere but Jalopnik,
of course.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Credit.
I was gonna say
but you gave it high marks for the things it does well, and then were realistic about everything else.
Yeah. Yep. I stand by every word of that. Anything in 2021 that gets 10 miles to the gallon is absurd and does not belong on the road. Just doesn't.
Yeah. Well, let's rewind from 2021 to 1981.
Yeah.
For a new edition of Fuke, Marry, Kill. This is where we play this.
Yeah, we're gonna play the theme song. Their lyrics.
Regular listeners who tuned in 30 episodes ago or 1 episode ago.
We
know.
actually just resurrected this in the previous episode. So
Regular listeners will know this already, but because they'll have heard the episode. But it's our game where we pick a year.
I think we played this last time I was on.
Okay, well,
back in October or whatever it was.
I don't think we did because we haven't done this in a long time.
30 episodes, which represents 30 years.
Okay, so how it's gonna work? I will pick 3 cars I will pick 3 for you. You will pick 3 for Chris, and Chris will pick 3 for me, and we make our determination.
Okay.
So do you want to go through some of these, Chris?
Yeah, let's actually. You know what? 81 did not have a lot of new cars.
Not a lot of new cars.
Yeah, although some pretty iconic ones though. So like the E28 BMW came out. The Chevy, the Camaro. Oh, the DeLorean came out in 81.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Ford Lana Del Rey. What's that?
Ford. Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I think it's a Ford of
Brazilian.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Laser. No, these are all like cars we did not get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, the city.
Technically, if it was Italian, it would be Jalpa, but it's Spanish, so it's Jalpa.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I learned of it when I was like 6 years old, so it's still Jalpa to me.
Oh, the Maserati Bit Urbo came out also.
There it is.
Yeah. The Alt Sit Club. Oh, look at that beauty.
This is great audio.
I think that is a Le car. Anyways.
It's the B2 Passat.
That's the first Passat. Oh, no. I guess it'd be...
The second Passat. Second
Passat.
gen.
The B2. Yeah, that makes sense. We did not get that.
Okay.
Yeah. And there you have it. So, why don't we start with Brad? Brad, you're choosing for Kevin. 3 cars.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to say 3rd gen Camaro.
Okay.
DeLorean.
All right.
And this is tough. 40 XP.
And as just a quick reminder of the game, this is Fuke, marry, kill. Kevin has to choose which one to Fuke, marry, or kill.
So that's that is drive once daily and crush.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why don't you should I make my selections now?
No.
Or should we go
so.
through?
I think so.
No, you're going
What
through.
is the Ford XP?
Ford EXP. It's a front-wheel drive, turbocharged sport compact.
Oh my
coupe.
God! Look at that thing.
Ooh! Wow!
That was supposed to compete with. Man, I don't even know.
I've never seen that in my life.
Oh, I've seen a few of them. I mean, I grew up in Michigan, so
that came here.
Yeah. It was built here.
Oh my God!
Side note: we skipped over this. I saw this earlier, but this is like we didn't want Porsche to a copyright infringement, so it's called the Renault 9 and 11.
Never forget.
Yeah.
I think the EXP is based on the it's a coupe version of the what is that called?
You're gonna say something else I've never heard
Escort.
of.
Oh, really?
What?
The Tempo?
This
maybe?
is the ZX2 of its day.
Yes.
You know
exactly.
what? Oh, yeah. You know what? Though
it looks so exotic. It looks like
almost, and it looks like an amphibicar of some kind.
It looks like a TVR of the period or something. I don't know. In that period where I don't know what TVRs looked like.
Yeah.
It's a proto Merkur XR4 Ti.
Ooh, yeah.
It's not because it's front wheel drive, but it's like it looks like it could be related, kind of.
All right. This is like really obvious. I'm gonna do the Ford EXP. I'm gonna do that as my drive once.
That's a one time. Okay.
One time. I will daily the DeLorean. I will crush the Camaro. And I have really nothing. I have nothing against the Camaro. And actually, my dad had one of those Camaros in period.
3rd gen. Oh yeah.
For the record, I think I would drive the Camaro once daily the EXP and crush the DeLorean.
Really? You would want to
teetering.
live with
I was
this
teetering on that
forever?
because of my sentimental attachment to that.
Yeah, I would
Camaro.
drive that. I would drive that every day
Oh
for the
my
rest of my
goodness.
life. That is an amazing
I've
car.
never seen one. I want to see
That's
one.
why I
now.
would drive it.
Look at this.
Yeah.
That's why I would love to own
Look
it.
at these phone dials.
Has there been an EXP at? Okay, that looks a little more familiar. Has there been an EXP at Radwood?
I want to say yes, but I don't remember.
Okay,
You got to remember the last Radwood was over a year ago.
That is
I know.
true. Yeah.
I know. As we recapped.
Okay,
on
wait. One
yesterday's
second.
show.
The EXP had like really good wheels.
Yeah,
Look at this.
I mean everything
Wow.
in that era did.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so am I picking for Chris?
Yeah. I guess you're picking for me.
All right.
Look at that. There were 2 generations of EXP.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, what was the Ford Laser?
It was another one that
I
we
think it's
didn't
a
get.
Euro.
Asia.
Okay.
Oh, Australia and South Africa.
Wow. All right. All right. Go back. I'm gonna go Isuzu Trooper,
Mm-hmm.
Nissan Maxima,
Mm-hmm.
and Lamborghini Jalopnik.
Holpa. My God. Okay.
Lamborghini.
Here's the thing. So the Trooper of this era was very good. It was like kind of like a Range Rover classic or a Suffix type thing. So I'm kind of
Mhm.
into that.
That
Of
was a
course,
good
again,
Trooper.
so Brad, we were talking about this in the last podcast, but Wikipedia forbids good photos. It has to be the
Yes.
shittiest example
Yes.
of a car.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's because whoever is the editor of that page is putting their picture of their car.
I guess so.
Yeah,
You know,
nobody-
you-
Nobody is editing the page for Isuzu Trooper
Yeah.
except the guy who owns an
no,
Their
Isuzu
but
head is the
Trooper.
that's not even
enthusiast
true.
club.
Like you have to be able to like prove with documentation that you own the photo, and that's usually, I think, the stumbling block.
Mm.
I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the Maxima of this era actually was kind of cool too. It
Was it?
Yeah, it was this one.
Okay.
Which
Mhm.
oh no, actually 81. It was this one. No, I didn't like this one at all. The first gen. So the second gen was cool. The one that it has like flush headlights and whatnot. That one was cool. Ooh, okay. So and then the Halpa.
Halpa.
Oh my god. Yes.
My second favorite Lamborghini.
It's pretty cool. So
My second
here's the
favorite.
thing. I guess it would be terrible
Is your
to own one
favorite
of
gonna be
these.
like the 3500 or some shit?
No, it's the Espada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Espada is my favorite.
That's
I've
good.
always loved those. I saw one street parked in Paris, and I've loved it ever since.
That's
Oh my
good.
god, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
very cool.
Okay, so let's see. I don't know that the Halpa would be fun to own forever. So maybe that's the Fuke. I like the Trooper, so maybe gonna marry that one.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna crush the bad Maxima. So those all slot in.
Nothing of value was
Yeah.
lost. so.
I agree with that.
And
I agree
there
with
you
that.
have
I-
it.
Man, I don't know. I might want to keep the Halpa forever.
I know.
It's a really good car.
It's cool. It's a Targa.
It is a Targa. I made
They
the
sold
practical choice.
basically. They did kind of the same thing that they did with the Countach, where they changed very little, but they just added more shit for years and years and years.
Yeah.
But they changed the name. Every time they added more shit, they changed the name.
It started as the Silhouette, I think.
I think it became the Silhouette.
Shit. Maybe so. But you might be right. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now I gotta
I
look
don't-
it up.
All right.
Bradley,
Uh,
I choose for you now.
Hmm.
So, I'm gonna try. Well, I was gonna try to make this difficult by choosing all good cars.
It was originally the Irako, and then it was the Silhouette, then it was the Halpa. So you're right.
Okay.
All right. Sorry.
So for you,
Continue.
Bradley,
Yes.
you will get the E28 5 Series.
Hmm.
You will get also the DeLorean Motorcars DeLorean.
Hmm.
And finally, the Maserati by Turbo.
This is the toughest one.
Yeah.
This is the toughest one for sure. Mm. I think I would have to fuke the Maserati,
Okay.
marry the 5 Series, and kill the DeLorean.
Whoa. Okay. Wow.
Man, that's tough because I really want to marry the Biturbo.
I would like to drive one just to see if it is as shitty as people say it is.
So I don't think it is. I haven't driven one. I'll stand by that and say I haven't driven one. But by all accounts, it drives really nice.
Yeah.
People just don't like taking care of them.
That's
which
true.
is the case.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a blow-through carburetor turbo, so that you got the turbo, and then you've got I don't even think some of the early ones were intercooled. So you've got a turbo manifold blowing directly through a carburetor.
Yeah.
So you have issues with they actually had a sealed box around the carburetor that pushes air through the carb.
Yeah.
So that sealed box, you always run into issues with the seal.
Yeah.
And so you've got vacuum leaks and boost leaks, and it runs like shit. And so everybody says, oh, they're all terrible and trash and whatever. But I think if you got one in really, really good shape, and you actually took care of it and you made it nice, it would be a really good driver. And
maybe
it would just be one of those Italian things where you just have to take care of it.
Yeah.
And the problem is nobody wants to spend the money to take care of it because they're only worth $2 or $3 grand.
Hey, I have to say also that the front, in this example that we're looking at right now, looks pretty much pristine, Concours almost. Although it has a New York plate, so it might be worse off than we think. Despite it being perfect, it looks like it has been in an accident anyways because of how weirdly
I don't know. I love that design.
What was the thing
crooked.
that this evolved to? Didn't it have a different name? Was it called a Ghibli or something?
Yeah, Ghibli. Well, it was related to the Ghibli too.
Oh my god, it was related to basically all of the Maseratis at the time.
So Maserati was such a weird case.
Oh, the Shamal. Yeah, the Shamal too.
Everything Maserati was based on one platform for so long because they didn't have any money.
Yeah.
They were independent, and then they ran out of money, so they were bought by Citroën. And then Citroën, there was the fuel crisis. And so they were like, oh, we don't have any money, so we're just going to sell this off. And so the Italian government and De Tomaso bought what was left of Maserati, and they couldn't buy the Citroën-based chassis anymore from Citroën because they canceled all those contracts.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to take care of you anymore because we sold you off. So they had to develop all these new platforms based on existing De Tomaso platforms.
Yeah.
So the Valleluna and whatever, like all of these luxury Italian cars that were basically thrown together in a shed became these Maserati platforms with the backing of the Italian government.
Yeah.
So they actually had investment, but they were kind of shit cars underneath.
Yeah.
So
it was the Shamal, the Ghibli, the Barchetta, the Quattroporte 4, and then the Carif.
Yeah. So the Quattroporte is an interesting one.
Oh, that actually looks good.
As far as I know, it's the only car to have been sold. No, maybe not the only, but one of the only cars to have been sold as a rear-wheel drive car, then to a front-wheel drive car, then back to a rear-wheel drive car.
Heritage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that Quattroporte of the time was... Oh, no, that was the 90s one I was looking at there. But where are we? Oh, my God. These are hideous.
Quattroporte 2, that one, they didn't make very many of them. I think it was like 75 or something.
This is retro-futuristic and terrible.
So that was the first one that was a De Tomaso.
Yeah.
Quattroporte 2 was a Citroën, and Quattroporte 3 was a De Tomaso.
Man, okay.
Man,
I have to say
amazing.
The Carif looks really cool, though. It's basically like a bi-turbo with a body kit, and looks pretty decent.
I saw one that was insanely cool. I went to like an auction in high school, and it was like a pro cup car. It was like a pro car.
I think the Shamal.
I think maybe it was the Shamal, but it was cool as hell.
Yeah.
It was like a racing version, and it was cool. But I see that these are a 90-degree V6, which tells me that began as a V8.
Probably,
yeah.
From something. I don't know what.
Oh, the Shamal is cool because it has like these box flares.
I think the Shamal is a V8. I think.
I believe you are correct.
Yeah, twin
yeah, it
turbocharged
is.
V8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you have
So
it.
probably the same platform.
So
they're all related. They're all related.
that is your
Yeah.
F car. So you killed off the DeLorean,
I did.
which is fair actually, because it is a
Yeah.
terrible car, even though it is cool as an
It's
idea.
cool. It's really cool. There's a guy local to me that built an electric DeLorean.
Oh, really?
And it's stupid fast.
And the current iteration of the brand, at least, is based here in Houston.
Yes.
The guy who bought, or the company, the group bought the rights to the company and the new old stock parts, and is building. I don't know if they've gone through them by now, but was building new DeLoreans basically out of old parts.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
They came to Radwood.
Oh, did they? Austin?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
And there you have
Awesome.
it. And Kevin had stepped away for a second, but the Mary is the 5 Series E28, which makes sense.
Mhm.
So
I do like the E28. I think it's a very well styled car.
yeah.
And I, at heart, I'm a German fan.
Yeah.
So
Good choices. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that is the game, and I think that is a podcast as well. Brad, thank you for coming on the podcast once again.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys talked all about Rad for Sale last night, so I won't dwell on it too much, but definitely go check out Rad for Sale.
Yeah.
There's some really cool cars coming up. I'm a fan.
Which may have launched by the time that this podcast comes out, but
yes, more than likely.
Yeah.
So the first auctions will probably be closing around the time this comes out.
Yeah. And then
or maybe they closed like 4 weeks ago and this is taking
that might it depends on how we feel about editing the podcast, but
we'll do it in a timely manner.
Yes. So what would you like to plug before we close out?
I recently reviewed a Tesla Model Y, so go check that out on Jalopnik. Read my standard model Taycan review on EV Pulse. And if you're into bikes, I did a review for rideapart.com on the Honda Rebel 1100. So,
there you have
awesome. We'll include those in the notes. That'll be cool.
Indeed. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and do follow New for 96 on Instagram at New for 96, Gmail all spelled out New for 96, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.
Oh, I'm BC Brownell on Twitter.
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't include that, but yes,
my horrifying takes are free for everyone.
my God, yeah,
they are there.
BC Brownell on all of the socials, but yeah, do follow Brad. Yep. All right, goodbye, all.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for
Brad.
coming.
Bye.